Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome to another Buzzing Chat Show here on Buzzing Pattaya, and to today's discussion, and that is, could you run a bar here in Pattaya? And I thought we'll have a chat about this because it's a common question, and a lot of people ask me, is it easy to run a bar, because of the buzzing bar and stuff. I'm slightly different because I'm not there 24/7, 7 days a week. So for me, it's a little bit easier. But for the guys I know, the people that run the bars, I know a lot of bar owners here, a lot of bar managers, there are some incredible hurdles they have to overcome. Some that maybe we overlook and don't even realize or even give it a second thought. We just chip up, order a beer, sit down, maybe there's a girl there, come and say hello, and life just passes us by. But for the guys that own these bars and the guys that are managers, it's a completely different world. So what I thought I'd do is well, let's run through some common problems, some common things that the guys have to overcome and deal with on a day-to-day basis, and let's see where we go. But the question I want to ask you is, what do you think is something that you would excel at if you was a bar owner stroke manager, and what problems do you foresee that you think, wow, I couldn't really handle that on a day-to-day basis, or it would drive you crazy? What are the kind of things that you feel would affect you if you was to come here and own or manage a bar? And if you're watching this and you are a bar owner or a bar manager, please drop your experiences below, drop a comment, let us know. I know it's a tough gig, it really is a tough gig. So anyway, let's run through this. Before we get into this, guys, if you haven't already, please check out Discord. There's lots of information on there, and there's a lot of bar managers on there that you can ask questions with and get some answers if you are considering that move. But yeah, so have a look on Discord. All right, so let's get started today. Now, I did the old swish the other day. That was pretty decent. I've done the clapping, so let's I don't know, what should we do now? Let's go bye. All right, so now we got the overlays. Check me out, boys. I reckon I'm going to go and get a Steven Spielberg job soon. All right, so first thing then, when you own a bar out, one of the biggest problems that people tend to tell me about is you've got to differentiate between working and play. You come here, you're surrounded by beautiful women, it's a fun night, every night is a Saturday night, temptation is at your fingertips. So when you come here to work, you really do have to be a lot more disciplined. And it's a lot different to when you're working, because when you work back home, the chances are you're not in this kind of environment, so the temptations are less. But when you're here working in what is effectively every hour of every day is a Saturday night at its best back in your own country, it's a really, really tough gig, because you've got to keep yourself balanced. You've got to keep yourself on par with reality rather than get sucked into this fantasy world. And I've seen guys out here, guys that have been working in the bars, and sadly, I've seen guys here that just basically drink themselves into oblivion and end up in a mess and have to go home and try and sort themselves out. It does happen. It's a sad part of the way we are out here, but it does happen because they have temptation at their very fingertips and at their dispersal. So one thing that I think people struggle with is you've got to keep yourself in a routine, you've got to keep yourself structured, you've got to keep yourself focused, because if you don't, trust me, it is so easy to slip off, and before you know it, you're in free fall and you're in a world of issues. So one of the things then is the biggest problem is making sure you keep it real. Now, if you are in a bar situation, one of the biggest problems that guys have here is recruiting of the girls. Now, you might think that's a bit of a strange thing to say, but the reality of that point is that the girls are what make the bar 9 times out of 10. Yes, I know Buzzing doesn't have any girls right now, but that's going to change. We've had to address that. And it's a really valid point, because when I first set up the Buzzing Bar with Stephen, we both said, no, let's keep it as a normal everyday bar where guys can come and have a beer, meet each other, have a chat, keep away from this crazy world that we live in day to day, and just have some what we call me time. And it didn't work. It absolutely didn't work. It fell on its ass without a shadow of a doubt. So we're now going to get some girls coming into the bar. And on that subject, with all the bars, not just Buzzing, but with all the bars, recruiting is very, very difficult. You've got to deal with day-to-day emotions. You've got to deal with illness, with sickness, with arguments amongst themselves. There's a lot of issues that go on behind the scenes that maybe people are not aware about. And also, when you get to the girls, these girls, you have to go and find them. They don't just walk through the door. Yes, you get the occasional girls walking through. That's a given because they're friends of girls that already work in your bar. But in general, you've got to find them. So that involves a recruiter. And the biggest recruiter out there is what we call the mamasan. Now, if you're not sure what a mamasan is basically the middle point between the owner and the girls. She's the one that does all the mediating, cracks the whip and keeps the girls in order, and she is like their mum. They call her mare. Mare is mum in Thai. So you'll hear the girls say mare, mare, which means mum, mum. They look up to her as a person of respect and a person that they turn to. Now that sounds great, but if you and the mama-san have a bit of a disagreement and she decides to call it a day, you're literally going to lose your workforce overnight. It's going to just disappear. And that leaves you in a massive, massive issue. So you need to make sure you keep the mama-san on side. And I know some mama-sans around the area that are fantastic. They're absolutely brilliant. They're lovely to work with. They're friendly. They help me when I do the photos. They're really, really nice people. I also know a few dragons. And I know a few of them that I think, oh God, she's in there tonight, here we go. And, you walk up and go, hi, and they just glare at you like, okay, that didn't go down too well, let's just crack on with the photos. It's one of those things. But the mama-san is vitally important in many, many aspects of a bar life that keep your bar going. Because if the mama-san is pissed off and she leaves, man, you've got some issues coming your way, trust me. Another thing that you've got to contend with is sponsors. So, you've set yourself up your bar, you've got a great setup, in comes the knight in shining armour, sits down with one of your girls, falls hopelessly head over heels in love with her, and decides that he wants to sponsor her. And he'll bar fine her, take her out the bar, and they'll have a few days together, whatever. But then comes the moment of time when he has to go back home. Most of the time, they have to go back home. So what happens? Oh, I don't want you to work in the bar. I don't want anyone else to spend time with you. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you some money and you can go back home. And what happens then is invariably either one, the girl does go back home. So now you've lost one of your staff and she'll go back home and then her reality steps in where she thinks, well, hang on, you're not really sending me anywhere near the amount of money I used to earn, so you need to up your game, son, or I'm going to go back to the bar, or I'll take your money and not tell you, but actually go back to the bar. It's just complicated. It's complicated beyond complicated. But from the bar aspect, you've now lost one of your girls. And of course, when they disappear, it's another issue because there may be guys coming in to see that particular girl, want to come and say hello and have a drink with her. It causes you issues. So every day you chip up, you're praying and thinking to yourself, I hope they're all here today. I hope they all turn up. So you have to be very careful about sponsors. There's not really much you can do about it. It's one of life's choices, but it is an issue that you as a bar owner, a manager, are going to have to deal with. You chip up one day and you're like, where's such and such? Oh, no, she's not coming anymore. What do you mean she doesn't come anymore? Well, no, she now has a boyfriend. Oh, God, really? And then 2 weeks later, she comes back, boss, can I come back, please? Mayor, can you speak to the boss, please? Another aspect you're going to have to deal with is difficult customers. And over the last 10 years, I've seen some pretty disturbing incidents. I've seen some bad incidents. And there's been some times when you step back and you think, really? I've seen a guy down Soy 6, I won't mention the name of the bar or anything, but I've seen a guy picking up stalls, throwing them all around the place, going berserk. And in the end, the phone call was made, and a group of Thai guys came and they calmed him down, let's call it that. But the point being is, at that moment in time, until the Thai guys turned up to help the situation, it was horrific. And there was girls screaming and shouting and running around and crying. There was customers kicking off left, right and centre. And I know that this happens all around the world. It's not just here. But what I'm trying to say to you is you as a bar owner stroke manager may well have to deal with that situation. And that depends on you as an individual as to how well that goes. One thing that I've always learned, and I've worked the door for many years, is try not to fight fire with fire, because eventually it just explodes. Try to calm the situation down. Try to level with the person that you're dealing with. Try and get into their head as to thinking, what are they thinking? And it's bizarre, but there's the best leveler in the world, we was always taught this, is to agree. Oh, you're this, you're that. Yeah, I know, but listen, what I'd like you to do, please go home and think about it. Did he just agree that I think he's a twat? It stumps people. They're like, he's just agreed with me because they expect you to say, oh, whatever, mate, and kick off. But it's an issue. It's an issue that you're going to have to deal with. And if you're not that kind of person where you can keep a level head, or you like to engage and try and deal with it in a physical side, trust me guys, it's just a mountain of problems. It really is. So there is that aspect. If you are coming out here, or you want to think to yourself, could I run a bar here? Don't forget, we've also got people from all around the world, and that's a massive key to the situations you're going to deal with. See, if you're in, let's say for instance, you're back home, the chances are, I'd say 80 to 90% of the people that come into your bar or in your area where you are mainly from the same country. Out here, being a tourist destination, we have people from all around the world. When we do a bar crawl, it's fantastic. Whereabouts are you from? I'm from here, I'm from there, I'm from over here. It's brilliant. I love it. You know, we experience so many people from all around the world. It's brilliant. But someone's castaway comment that to them means nothing may insult someone else. And then you've got that spark, you've got that, oh, hang on, what's this about? So what I would say is, remember, it's not all plain sailing. You've got to deal with difficult customers. Talking of difficult customers, tea money. And I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but tea money is a contribution to a person that requires you to top up their tea fund in order for you to continue the way that you are. I will leave that there. But the point being is, you are going to have to deal with that. So it's an issue, possibly, but it's definitely a situation that happens. Licenses. You know, these licenses, I see the licenses that we have in Buzzing and Escape, and what Stephen has around all his bars. My Lord, there's some licenses you've got to go. You know, if you cough, you need a license for that as well. It really is mind-blowing. So again, you know, it's not plain sailing. You've got to get your paperwork in order, because trust me, when the tea collection comes, if that said paperwork is not in order, your cup of tea's become a teapot now. So you get where I'm going with this. The old sun's out today. It's bright as hell over there. Hours of work. Remember, people will associate you in the bar and they'll come to see you. And I'm the worst person in the world for talking about this, because I don't spend a lot of time in the buzzing bar. That was something that I agreed with Stephen. And over the last 3 months, I'll be honest with you, going into a bar that was empty, it's pretty soul destroying, to be fair. So with the introduction, that's a terrible description. With the introduction of the girls, hopefully that will bring the customers, and that in turn, I will go down and spend more time, because I love chatting to people. But you're going to have to do the same if you were going to be a bar owner or a bar manager. You're going to have to come down. Maybe not as a bar owner, because maybe you'll get a manager. But as a bar manager, you're going to be part of the bar. You are going to be that face that when people walk in, they expect to see. So the commitment that you've got to make is every evening, you're going to be in the mix, doing what you're doing, while all your mates are coming in, having a beer. Right, mate, I'm off now, catch you later, enjoy your day. And you're thinking, bloody hell, I wish I was with them. It's demanding, it's a tough time. Talking of tough things, one of the biggest issues that I've known over the last 10 years, and I explained my situation when I fell foul with Mo in the Crystal Agogo, when not Mo, my missus, my wife, not her, this was a girl that I was taking photos of. And I decided to dip my ink in the well, and it wasn't a good idea, because effectively it cost me my job in that said place. So as a manager, if you're in the bar surrounded by 15, 20 girls or more, depending on where you're working, temptation is at your fingertips. It really is. So you've got to be very disciplined. You've got to be able to address that situation and decide in your mind, mentally, don't get yourself involved, because trust me, I would say 9 times out of 10 it ends in problems, and the problem will be that you'll cause friction between the girls. The girls will then not work well with you. That then causes you issues with customers when the girls are off and they won't entertain the customers. It's just a spiral of shit that can come your way. So the best thing to do is to keep temptation at arm's reach and just keep yourself out of problems, because when you start messing about with the staff, it gets known, people talk about it, the girls talk about it. I know many managers over the years that have done this, and I can honestly say I can count on one hand the amount of those people that's been successful and actually managed to deal with the situation. It is a can of worms. So you are presented with temptation every minute of every second of your working life, and it is tough. It is tough. Family life. you know, don't forget, guys, you're coming over here, if you want to be a bar manager, or, you know, you've got to now separate the bar world from being your family life. You know, how do you integrate with your family? You know, I've got a very good friend of mine. He's a manager here. He's got a family. He's got a young baby, and it's tough. It really is tough, because when he goes home, he's then got limited amount of time with his family before he's got to come to work again. So it is a very, very tough gig, and it's one that maybe things like this you oversee. Remember, if you're going to get a girlfriend, is your girlfriend going to be happy that you're working in a bar full of girls? I don't think they will. But you know, never say never. But what I'm saying is, to build a relationship, if you're working in a bar, is going to be potentially quite difficult. Drinking. The last one I'm going to cover really is drinking. People come into the bar and they want to buy you a drink. And I don't know what your setups are and how people set up. I know that there are setups here where the bar will give the manager a percentage of the drink. So if you buy a manager a drink, some will earn the money out of that. Some will earn money out of that. I don't. You know, in the buzzing bar's absolutely irrelevant. And people that watch this channel that have been into the buzzing bar, those guys that say, Trev, can I buy you a drink? 9 times out of 10, I say, that's really kind of you, but I'm okay, thank you. And there are other places around here where I know for a fact the bar manager gets a cut. They might get 50 baht, 60 baht, whatever, on a manager's drink, and it tops up their salary. Also, they've got the issue of drinking. You know, drinking every day, night after night after night. I can't do it. I don't even want to do it. But that's part and package of your job if you're in the mix, if you're in a full-time job as a bar manager. So would you be able to drink every night consistently? And I know somebody said, yeah, bloody hell, yeah, that'd be fantastic. But it does take its toll. It'll affect your health. It'll affect your decision making. It'll affect you mentally, because you're going to get tired. You know, it's a really big knock-on effect. So it does take a lot of effort to become a bar manager stroke owner if you're an owner manager. So there you go, guys. That's just a few of the things that I thought about. What I would say is, please drop your comment. What do you think would be the hardest aspect of being a bar manager? How would you deal with whatever you feel would be the biggest aspect or the biggest problem that you'd have to overcome? And on the other side, on the flip side, what would you think would be the best part? What would you enjoy? Think, do you know what? I'd love to do that because this. And that sun out there is beaming down on my bonnet. And yeah, today we've got a hot day. Anyway, that's it from me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's chat. If there are any topics you would like me to cover, any topics you'd like us to chat and discuss amongst us in the community, please drop me an email, 247pattaya@gmail.com. I'll do my very best to cover them for you, no problem whatsoever. So if there is a topic you think, I'd love him to chat about that, drop it down, guys. I'll more than happily do my very best. I'm not saying I'll do very good, but I'll try my best. All right, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't, please remember, guys, hit the subscribe button. That helps me out tremendously. It really, really does. So please hit the subscribe button. We're nearly at 50,000 subscribers now. Unbelievable. Fantastic. So thank you very much, guys. Much appreciated. If you'd like to be notified when I bring out a video, please hit the bell icon, and that will ding you and tell you at 9 o'clock every morning I bring out a video. If you haven't, jump on Discord. I mentioned it earlier. Get on Discord. There's bar managers on there. You can ask direct questions. It really is a absolute minefield of information. It's brilliant. It really is fantastic. So jump on there. There's over 15,000 people in there now. So have a look at that. And if you'd like to support the channel, there is a link down in the description below. Membership here starts as little as about 89 pence a month. All right, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. And please, as always, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.